All right, boys and girls, this week you are going to learn about drawing conclusions. And we've talked about drawing conclusions before. We're drawing conclusions in our reading comprehension, which means we're coming up with our own ideas, not drawing a picture. When you read a text, some facts are clearly stated, right? You can read those facts in there. But this is not always the case. Sometimes you must figure things out on your own. You must draw conclusions about what you read. Drawing conclusions refers to information that is implied or inferred. That means if information's implied, it's suggested. If it's inferred, you came up with that idea on your own based on the facts. When you draw a conclusion, you need to look at the details in the passage and combine them with what you already know. So let's look here. A detail, Lewis read 5 books. Here's another detail about Lewis. Lewis read 2 magazines. What can you conclude about Lewis? Lewis likes to read, right? He likes to read. So I have details in the passage and I combine them with what I already know about the subject. I know that if people are reading 5 books and 2 magazines, they must like to read. So to draw a conclusion, you need details from the story plus prior knowledge. That means what you already know. Let's look at 4 tips for drawing conclusions. 1, you have to read between the lines. Well, there is nothing between the lines, really, right? Reading between the lines means that you read that information and you think about what did the author leave out that I can pretty much figure out by reading their details. You combine what you know with what the text says to draw a conclusion. You base conclusions on relevant details from the text, right? Let's look up here. Lewis read 5 books. Lewis read 2 magazines. I concluded that Lewis likes to read. Could I have concluded that Lewis likes cars? He might, but that has nothing to do with just 5 books or 2 magazines. If it said Lewis read 5 books about cars and he read 2 magazines about cars, then I could put something in about cars. All right, your conclusions have to match what details you have. And your 4th clue, back up your conclusion with details from the passage. We just talked about that. So boys and girls, let's try it. We're going to try to find some details to match this conclusion down here. Have you ever heard of geocaching? If so, then you know that it's an outdoor treasure hunting activity. Participants try to find small containers called caches. Every time a cache is hidden, it is entered into the geocaching website with specific coordinates to find its location. Then searchers use a global positioning device or their cell phones' navigation apps to find the cache. Caches typically contain a small trinket and a pen or pencil. When a cache is found, the seekers sign his or her name to the log. He or she can exchange the trinket for something else, and then the cache must be placed into the exact same spot again for another searcher to find. The activity is a fun way to explore new places and connect to a community of like-minded treasure hunters. So let's see what conclusion they came up with. They said geocaching is an outdoor treasure hunting game that uses technology. Could we support that conclusion that geocaching is an outdoor treasure hunting game that uses technology? Let's see. What detail up here can we find that supports that? Oh, it says outdoor treasure hunting activity right here. It's an outdoor treasure hunting activity. That is definitely a detail. Searchers use global positioning devices or their cell phones cell phones navigation app to help find the caches. Yep, right up here. Searchers use a global positioning device or their cell phones. Yep, so that supports our conclusion. And the last one, the activity is a fun way to explore new places. This activity is a fun way to explore new places. I got my details right from the text, right? And I could say geocaching is an outdoor treasure hunting game that uses technology. I can conclude that it's a game. It's a game that you play outside and you use technology for. Let's try another one. The average person has 2,000 to 8,000 taste buds on their tongues. Younger people have more taste buds. As we age, we have less taste buds. The small bumps are pliable that line our tongue to help us experience tastes that are salty, sweet, sour, or bitter. How do they work? Well, the tiny taste buds on our tongue have super sensitive hairs. When the hairs interact with the type of food or drink, they send a message to our brains letting us know that the item is sweet, sour, salty, or bitter. One myth about taste buds is that different areas of our tongue perceive different tastes. That's just not true. All right, the conclusion is taste buds help us experience sweet, sour, salty, or bitter tastes. Let's see. Can we find text evidence to support that? Well, the average person has 2,000 to 8,000 taste buds on their tongues. So, yep, that would support that. Small bumps or papillae that lie on your tongues give us experience or help us experience tastes that are salty, sweet, sour, or bitter. Yep, that definitely supports our conclusion. And let's see, when hairs interact with the type of food or drink, they send a message to our brains. All right, so all those details support our conclusions that taste buds help us experience sweet, salty, or bitter tastes. All right, boys and girls, we have one that I want you to do all on your own, okay? It's about states, but this time it gives you one detail. You have to draw your own conclusion. I want you to read about states that create new laws. States create new laws all the time. However, sometimes laws that once made sense are no longer relevant. For instance, in Missouri, there is a law that forbids motorists to drive with an uncaged beard. Oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't say beard. Bear. It's a law that forbids motorists to drive with an uncaged bear. In Winona Lake, Wisconsin, you are not allowed to eat ice cream at a counter on Sunday. If you are prone to making silly faces at dogs, you better not do this in Norman, Oklahoma. That is because teasing dogs by making strange faces is illegal. Some states are making efforts to get rid of outdated laws. For example, Florida got rid of a law forbidding unmarried women to go parachuting on Sundays, and it's now legal for women in Texas to adjust their stockings in public. All right, so boys and girls, those are a bunch of silly laws that were made long time ago. So what can you conclude about this article? And then give me some details that will match your conclusion, okay? And then get that turned back in, and you have a fabulous day.